Have you ever found yourself hopelessly drawn to someone without really knowing why? Maybe it wasn't their looks, their voice, or even their personality. Yet something clicked. That invisible spark, that uncontrollable fascination. It feels like magic, but it's not. It's neuroscience. Today, we're diving deep into one of the strangest and most emotional questions of human life. How does your brain choose your crush? And spoiler alert, you're not as in control of your feelings as you think. Let's start at the very beginning, not with the heart, but with the brain. When you feel attracted to someone, your brain turns into a chemical laboratory. The moment you see a person who catches your eye, your brain may release a cocktail of chemicals: dopamine, pleasure, norepinephrine, excitement, serotonin, obsession, and sometimes even oxytocin, bonding. This combination doesn't just make you feel good, it creates tunnel vision. Suddenly, they're the most interesting person in the room. You laugh more, your heart races, your hands sweat, and all of it is automatic. In fact, neuroscientists have found that within zero point 0.2 seconds of seeing someone, your brain can start producing dopamine if it senses traits you associate with ideal partners. You don't choose to feel it. It's triggered by subconscious filters. So what are those filters? We'll get to that. But first, you need to know this. Crushes are not random. They are deeply rooted in evolution, psychology, and personal experience. Your brain is constantly scanning for traits, both visible and invisible, that match your attraction blueprint. This blueprint is built over years, often without you knowing. And here's where it gets even weirder. You might be attracted to someone not because of who they are, but because of how they make you feel, or even because they resemble patterns from your childhood. We'll explore that next. Chapter 4, Part 2, the subconscious blueprint. Let's talk about that blueprint. Because your brain isn't choosing your crush in the moment, it's referencing a secret file it's been building since you were a child. Psychologists call this your love map. It's a mental representation of the traits, behaviors, and even emotional patterns that you associate with attraction and connection. And most of it is built subconsciously, shaped by your earliest relationships, especially those with your parents or caregivers. Sounds a bit creepy, right? But stay with me. If you grew up with a parent who was emotionally distant, for example, you might find yourself drawn to people who are hard to read. Why? Because your brain learned to associate uncertainty with emotional excitement. It became familiar. And here's the twist. Your brain often confuses familiarity with safety or attraction. Even if those past dynamics weren't healthy, they feel emotionally recognizable. It's like your subconscious saying, "Hey, I know this pattern, let's follow it." In other words, your crush might not be your dream partner. They might just fit the emotional puzzle you're used to playing. And it's not just emotional patterns. Your blueprint can include voice tone. Maybe someone's voice reminds you of a comforting figure from childhood. Facial expressions. Certain smiles or eye movements can trigger unconscious associations. Even smell. Yes, your brain is wired to detect pheromones, natural body chemicals that send invisible signals of genetic compatibility. There's even research showing that women tend to prefer the scent of men with different immune system genes, potentially increasing the chances of healthy offspring. Crazy, right? Your nose might be choosing your crush without your permission, but let's take it even further. What if your crush isn't about the other person at all? What if it's about how you feel when you're around them? Let's go there next. Part 3, you like how they make you feel. Now here's something that will flip your idea of attraction upside down. Your brain isn't obsessed with the person. It's obsessed with the feeling you get when you're around them. Think about it. Your crush might be funny, confident, mysterious, or warm, but what you're really drawn to is the way those qualities make you feel. Safe, excited, noticed, worthy, desired. In psychological terms, this is called emotional resonance, when someone mirrors or awakens the emotions you crave most. You're not necessarily falling for them, you're falling for how you feel in their presence. This explains a lot. Why do we sometimes develop crushes on people we barely know? It's because they trigger something, a look, a moment, a tone of voice, and suddenly you're imagining entire stories with them. You assign meaning to a fleeting interaction because of how intensely it felt inside. It's also why so many crushes fade once the feeling wears off. When the emotional high is gone, your brain says, "Wait, who is this person really?" And often the answer isn't what you hoped for. But there's more. Research shows that your brain exaggerates the positives when you have a crush. It idealizes. It creates what psychologists call a positive illusion. You overlook red flags. You downplay incompatibilities. You mentally fill in the gaps with your imagination. For example, if someone texts you, "Good morning," your brain might turn that into, "They care about me. They're different. They see something special in me." But maybe they just texted 10 people that same message. Still, your brain wants the feeling, so it builds a fantasy to keep the dopamine flowing. In a way, your crush isn't just a person. It's an emotional story you're telling yourself, and your brain is writing the script. But there's another plot twist. Sometimes your brain doesn't choose someone because they make you feel good, but because they make you feel nervous. Let's go there. Part 4. Why your brain loves emotional roller coasters. Let's talk about anxiety, because sometimes the most intense crushes are not on the people who make you feel calm and safe. They're on the ones who make you feel uncertain, nervous, and even a little bit out of control. And that's not a coincidence. It's brain chemistry. When you don't know how someone feels about you, or when they're hot and cold, your brain doesn't shut off. It fires up. In fact, uncertainty activates the brain's reward system even more than predictable rewards do. It's called intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And that unpredictable reward creates obsession. In the world of crushes, this looks like waiting hours for a reply, then getting one that makes your heart race, catching their glance across the room, then being ignored the next day, feeling like you're close, but never quite sure. Each little reward, no matter how small, floods your brain with dopamine, and the inconsistency keeps you coming back for more. Here's the wild part. Your brain starts to associate anxiety with attraction. So the more someone confuses you, the more you might start thinking, this must be love. This must mean something. But really, your brain is on a chemical roller coaster, and it's addicted to the ride. And let's not forget, we live in a world where mystery is romanticized. Movies, books, social media. They all tell us that love should feel intense, dramatic, almost painful. So when someone gives you butterflies, makes you overthink, and leaves you guessing, you might actually think they're special. But ask yourself, is it love or just adrenaline? And here's the real danger. This cycle can create toxic attractions when you start chasing emotional highs instead of real connection. But your brain doesn't care about what's healthy. It cares about what's stimulating until you learn to step back and ask, is this person actually good for me? But don't worry, we're getting there. Because next we're diving into how evolution, biology, and even culture shape who you crush on, often without you realizing. Part 5, evolution is still pulling the strings. Let's zoom out for a second, because while you're busy catching feelings, your brain is also doing something much older, much deeper. It's running an evolutionary program. Your brain isn't just thinking about romance, it's secretly thinking about survival and reproduction. Not consciously, of course, but deep in the background, your biology is scanning for traits that, over thousands of years, were linked to passing on genes successfully. This is where it gets fascinating. Studies show that, on average, women are more likely to be attracted to confidence, ambition, and social dominance, traits historically linked to protection and resource access. Meanwhile, men often report higher attraction to physical cues of fertility, like clear skin, symmetrical features, and certain body ratios. It's not a conscious checklist, it's evolutionary autopilot. But there's nuance here, because your crush isn't just about biological fitness, it's also about compatibility. Ever heard of the major histocompatibility complex, MHC? It's a group of genes that helps your immune system recognize disease, and research shows that people are often subconsciously more attracted to others with different MHC genes, because it could lead to stronger immune systems in offspring. And how do you detect someone's MHC? Through scent. Yes, your nose may be sniffing out genetic compatibility without you even realizing it. That's why sometimes someone just smells right. And no, we're not talking about perfume, but there's more. Evolution also shaped how your brain reacts to certain facial features. For example, wide eyes and fuller lips are often perceived as signs of youth and fertility. Strong jaws and deep voices are often linked to testosterone and perceived strength. But before you think your brain is shallow, hold on. These signals are just one piece of the puzzle, because society and culture also play a massive role in who we find attractive. Your biology might whisper, but your culture, it shouts. Let's explore that next. Swarni, Part 6. Culture programs your preferences. Your brain doesn't live in a vacuum. It's been shaped, slowly, subtly, and constantly, by the culture you grow up in. From the moment you're a kid, you start absorbing messages about beauty, love, and desire. from movies, cartoons, music videos, social media, even fairy tales. And these messages don't just entertain you, they train you. They teach you what's desirable, what's cool, what kind of person is worth chasing. For example, rom-coms often portray love as chaotic but magical. The bad boy who changes for you. The cold girl who secretly has a heart of gold. The idea that love is proven through drama, not calm understanding, and we eat it up. Social media adds another layer. You see carefully curated versions of people, filtered, edited, optimized. Your brain starts comparing real humans to highlight reels. And suddenly, average faces, bodies, and personalities seem not enough. But here's the kicker. Cultural standards change. In ancient Greece, a soft, round body was the ideal of beauty. In Victorian times, pale skin was prized. Today, it's often tan skin, a fit body, and certain aesthetics influenced by celebrities and influencers. Your crushes reflect those cultural trends more than you realize. Even race and ethnicity can be affected by media representation. In societies where one group dominates the screen, people may internalize the idea that only certain features are attractive. This isn't just shallow, it's psychological programming, but it goes deeper still. Your environment, your school, your workplace, your friend group also shapes your crushes. The more you're around someone, the more likely you are to find them attractive. It's called the mere exposure effect. Familiarity breeds connection. Even if someone didn't stand out at first, repeated interactions can make your brain say, hey, maybe they're kind of amazing. So while you might think your crushes are unique, they're actually a complex mix of biology, psychology, culture, and environment, all colliding in the space between your ears. But here's the most mind-blowing part. Sometimes the person you crush on isn't chosen by desire, but by unresolved wounds. Let's go there. Part 7, Unresolved Wounds and the Subconscious Attraction. Now let's bring it all together. There's a hidden force that's driving your crushes, and it's not just biology or culture. It's unresolved emotional wounds. Let me explain. Remember that love map we talked about earlier? That subconscious blueprint that's built from your early relationships? Well, sometimes those early experiences can leave behind emotional scars. If you've experienced neglect, rejection, or unresolved emotional pain, your brain might start seeking out patterns that feel familiar, even if those patterns are unhealthy. For example, if you've had a distant or emotionally unavailable parent, you might find yourself attracted to people who give you the same vibe. Even if consciously, you know it's not what you need. Your subconscious brain is seeking what it knows, not what is necessarily best for you. And it's not just about parents. Your relationships with friends, classmates, and even romantic experiences in your teens can also leave imprints. You might chase after that perfect love to fill a void or heal an old wound. Maybe you're attracted to someone who seems out of reach because deep down, you're trying to fix a part of yourself that feels unworthy or incomplete. This explains why sometimes your crush feels almost too perfect, like you're building them up in your mind to be the person who will fix everything. But as we know, that's not how it works. No person can fully heal you. That's a job only you can do for yourself. The key here is self-awareness. Once you realize that some of your attractions are based on past wounds, you can start making better, more conscious choices. You can stop chasing emotional highs that come from unresolved pain and start seeking relationships that truly nurture you. And here's the most powerful part. Once you understand that your brain is constantly shaping your crushes based on hidden factors, you can begin to take control. You can start choosing relationships that support your growth, emotional health, and long-term happiness. In the end, the science of attraction isn't just about finding someone who's hot or cool. It's about understanding the intricate web of psychological, emotional, and biological forces that are drawing you towards certain people. So the next time you catch a crush, ask yourself, is it real attraction? Or is your brain just playing its familiar old tricks? Conclusion: the brain's choice of a crush is a fascinating blend of subconscious programming, emotional needs, and social influences. From biology to culture, and from past wounds to present experiences, we're all shaped by a mix of factors that determine who we're drawn to. Understanding this deeper process gives you the power to make more conscious choices when it comes to love and attraction. So remember, your crushes may be more about your brain trying to fulfill its own hidden desires than about that person's actual qualities. By recognizing these influences, you can move closer to authentic connections, not just chasing after fleeting emotional highs. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more insights on how to understand yourself better.